early morning fire rips through a home in Bemidji, Minnesota.
When I got there, there was still smoke in the air, but they primarily had the fire extinguished.
Buried in the debris and still smoldering home, a horrible tragedy. The body of the homeowner, Melissa Norby.
It seemed really odd because the main bulk of the fire had burned in a southwest bedroom, but then her body was in the middle of the house and had what appeared to be a mattress over the top.
Melissa's body and the mattress are both badly burned.
Quite a bit more than what you would expect from a fire that would have started a few rooms away.
Investigators quickly rule the cause of the fire arson. And if this fire is no accident, Melissa's death likely isn't either.
We looked at the victim when we saw her hands were bound with tape. Appeared to be duct tape.
Melissa Norby was a 35-year-old single mother who loved ones called Missy. She and Amanda Smith had been friends since they were kids.
She had the biggest heart ever. If you needed something, she'd be there. You know, it's just how she was.
Cops are relieved to learn Melissa's 11-year-old son was safe. He had spent the night with family in the Twin Cities area. But as they sifted through the burned-out home searching for clues, Amanda rushed to the scene with a shocking announcement. Her own 5-year-old daughter had spent the night at Melissa's house.
I kept telling them my daughter's in that house.
She was very stoic at first and then just kind of collapsed to the ground.
She had no idea investigators had already been through the house many times. They were confident there were no other bodies.
That, to us, was kind of the beginning of, wow, this is more than we thought it was.
By now, investigators wonder, did someone murder Melissa and set the fire to her house in an elaborate ruse to kidnap the little girl?
At that point, we're talking to everybody who knows our victim.
Investigators soon learned from Melissa's friend disturbing details about the single mom's sex
Melissa was very into, not S&M, but more like daddy, little girl kind of scenarios that she was playing out with Chance.
Detectives learned Chance's real name is Jake, and he owns a food truck called Jake's Eats.
We knew Jacob Kinn, we knew his history, and we went, oh my God.
Jacob Kinn, a registered sex offender well known to law enforcement.
We had probation call him, a non-threatening phone call. Hey, we have a missing child. Police would like to talk to you about it. And he agreed to come in and meet us.
Shortly after midnight, Jacob Kinn willingly walks into the sheriff's station. Right away, he admits to knowing Melissa Norby.
I haven't talked to her in like 6 or 8 months.
About an hour into the interrogation, he learns the real reason he's been called in.
We got reports that you had a relationship with Melissa.
I wasn't the least bit attracted to her.
Detectives show Jake a picture of the missing child, and he admits he's seen her before.
She showed me a picture of her once a long time ago.
Who did?
Melissa.
Cops ask Jacob where he's been for the last 48 hours, not realizing detectives had determined his location through phone records based on his probation officer's call.
Well, I was fishing up north.
Okay. Fishing where?
Clear Lake.
Basically, Jake, your cell phone doesn't put you in that spot tonight.
The conversation quickly turns to asking Jacob where the girl is.
Jake, something bad happened. Jake, if you could help us with that. In any way.
I would if I could, but I don't know where she's at.
Why won't you let us search her?
Because at this point, I don't trust you guys.
After 4 hours in the hot seat, Jacob offers to leave some of his personal items. Cops have no choice but to let Kinn go.
We take his clothes, we take his Jeep, we take his phone. We literally send him home because at that point, we don't really know quite what we have yet.
But that was all about to change.
I yelled, bingo. I said, you guys are not gonna believe it. You gotta come and see this.
It was him, no doubt in our minds. It was him.
Police believe Jacob Kinn murdered Melissa Norby and had possibly kidnapped the little girl whom Melissa was babysitting. And Kinn willingly left behind plenty of evidence: his clothes, vehicle, and most importantly, his cell phone.
That phone data unlocked a whole new area that just really turned this case upside down for us.
You could see his sexual desires is what he was into, as his phone was full of other images of other kids.
And on the phone, texts between Jacob and Melissa detailing an elaborate plan between the two to kidnap the 5-year-old daughter of Melissa's best friend, Amanda.
I've never seen something documented so complete.
But why would Melissa allow someone to hurt her best friend's daughter?
She definitely wanted to do anything she could to have a relationship with him, and at all costs.
Jacob Kinn only maintained that relationship with Melissa because he could have access to a little girl.
Finding the little girl was now the top priority.
We know the statistics. We know what is likely happened. And we're scrambling.
Though Jacob Kinn told investigators he'd been fishing at Clear Lake, cell phone records put him in an area known as Big Fork, about 80 miles out of town.
The dispatcher says, wait a second here. We have a Kinn who owns property in that same area, 3.1 miles from the cell phone tower.
Investigators make it to the Big Fork property just after a rainfall as the sun is rising and spot an eye-opening clue.
You can see clearly that there are tire tracks coming off of the gravel road.
The tracks match the tires on Kinn's Jeep. The men get out and start to follow the tracks on foot.
We didn't know what we were gonna find.
But a half a mile in, detectives spot a camper in the distance. The tire tracks lead right to it.
I'm actually on the phone because our bosses are basically curious as to how things are going. We're giving them a play-by-play on what we're seeing. Basically telling them we're gonna know pretty soon, one way or another, good or bad, what happened to this little girl.
The door to the camper was taped shut with electrical tape. Rob removes the tape and slowly opens the door. The incredible moment all captured on Rob's cell phone camera.
Hi, what did you say your name was again? I'm gonna take a little video. How'd you get here?
His friend got me here.
Both men are trembling with adrenaline and joy. She is alive and talking.
Oh, what's his name? Okay, when did he bring you here?
Right now.
Can you show me your feet? Right there? Okay. Where are you taped at? Okay, anywhere else? Did you have tape on your arms? My name's Rob and this is Don. How old are you?
Probably 5 or something.
Probably 5 or something? Okay.
Then, the phone call her mother will never forget.
We have your daughter.
After rescuing her from the camper, Dawn takes this photo of the girl in Rob's arms and sends it to their colleagues.
I grab my phone and I see a picture of Rob holding alive. She's right there, alive. The text message says, arrest him.
About 90 minutes later, Jacob Kinn is spotted behind the wheel of his dad's truck heading north. He's pulled over and taken into custody.
What changed between 2 hours ago and now?
That's when Special Agent Paul Girardi shows him what changed, revealing the picture of the little girl in the arms of Detective Rob Frake.
Now, start over.
We know more than you think we do right now. And now's the time for you to fill in those blanks.
Detectives say Jacob Kinn choked Melissa Norby to death with a belt during sex, then brought the girl to his house where he raped her and left her tied up. He returned to Melissa's and set the house on fire, later taking the girl out to the camper in Big Fork.
She's resilient. She's, like I said, she's a rock. Nothing's gonna break her.
Thankfully, she did not have to tell her story of torture and abuse in open court. Jacob Kinn cut a deal with prosecutors and was sentenced to 52 years. As for the investigators who worked day and night to bring her home,
They are our family. You know, all of them. If it wasn't for them, we would have lost her.